This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Jambo, and a very warm welcome to you in the Masai Mara of Kenya. We have a very beautiful sunrise today. Welcome aboard to your very own safari live from the African wilderness. Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to you in the Masai Mara of Kenya. We have a very nice, beautiful sunrise today. My name is Tim, and behind camera we have Big James. What a beautiful weather to rise up this morning. Very nice, 16 degrees Celsius. We have about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, look at that. I haven't seen such a beautiful sunrise in the last about 4 or 5 days. We have a balloon gliding smoothly over the swamp. We have tourists enjoying that beautiful morning this morning, and I'm sure they're going to see lots of stuff. So we have also people coming in to see more wonders of this Masai Mara. Lots of wildebeest, lots of lions. So it seems like today is going to be a nice day, because as the sun rises every day, can tell you how it's going to be. I like the rays as they penetrate through those balanite trees. So these trees are the ones that make the Mara become the Mara, because when you're up in the air, you see them scattered like little dots, and that's the reason why it's called dots, or the Mara. So the region is called Masai Mara. So the people inhabiting this place is the Maasai. So that command. Wow, that's gorgeous. I can't agree more. This is truly gorgeous, truly magical. I can hear lots of birds chirping. Those melodious songs and the sunrise make a very nice combination. can hear buffaloes over in the distance, mooing, birds chirping. There's a very big buffalo herd just also admiring this sunrise. That's a big herd. They prefer grazing at this time of the morning when it's cool. There's lots of dew in the grass, so it supplies them with adequate water. And then in the hot part of the morning or during the day, they'll take time to rest. This is a breeding herd, so you can hear those calves calling on to their mothers. Beautiful sound coming from those buffaloes. It's a very beautiful herd, and I'm sure they're going to the marshes later on. As I enjoy the sun sinking in the clouds, I'm going to carry on to see what else I can find as I take you over to another live location. Jumbo everyone. It's another beautiful morning and we are here at near Olololo Gate in Masai Mara, Kenya. And what a lovely morning and how wonderful we have started with this big, beautiful male lion. And there is a female lioness approaching, and it is actually a scene set for us to actually try and investigate exactly what's happening, because we have 4 lions. Well, jumbo everyone, my name is Isaac and on camera I have Bungei. Our plan today was to look for lions, and luckily they're just here by the road. And after that we're gonna go to the marsh, see if we can find the cubs of the River Pride. Remember to talk to us on hashtag WildEarth. You can also send in kids question at WildEarth TV, and also at FC. You can also watch us on YouTube live stream. Questions and comments starts now. Please send them to us. Looks like that female is trying to present herself to the male, but he wasn't very interested. Now she has gone to the bathroom, and usually he will come very quickly and sample the urine to tell if she's in season or not. But what a way to start a morning. This is Lalashe, one of our big male lions in this area. Looks like he has taken over 2 prides. He is dominating the Owino pride plus the Olololo 2. Yes, are we gonna have a mating? Looks like he's not very interested, but she is very, very interested. This is just beautiful, guys. I don't know how you feel, but it's very, very beautiful. Is he gonna sample the urine? Yes, I think so. How beautiful is that? Yes. He's not saying it tastes yuck, but using some sensory organs placed at the upper side of his nasal passage, called the Jacobson's organ, he can send a message to the brain that tells him if the female is receptive or she's coming into season, and then after that, he might try and follow her, hoping to mate when she comes into season. I doubt it if she's in season because they have been mating, but it is normal for male lions to portray this behavior every time they come across, some, female urine. Well, it's a very beautiful scene, and I leave to understand what's happening. Let me take you to another one of my colleagues to introduce himself.
Good morning and welcome to the dawn, coming to you live from Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands, where we've got a martial eagle perched in a tree and a very brave fork-tailed drongo. I wouldn't be messing with a martial eagle. They're about as big and as dangerous as they come. Good morning, everybody. I hope you are having a wonderful morning. My name is Steve, joined by Morgan on camera this morning as we try and just iron out some of the kinks. We hope you're having a wonderful morning, and we look forward to guiding you on a glorious day. My objectives this morning are to check the southern boundary, down to Treehouse Dam, and then I'm going to go all the way along the western side and then up into the north and see if I can find any tracks coming in, first of all, but then if we could pick up on the Talamati Pride, who was seen last night in Bufosuk. Who knows where they'll be, but along the way, remember, this is a live safari. You never know what the bush is going to provide for you. But really nice to see a martial eagle. You might ask me, how on earth do you know that's a martial eagle? Well, you can kind of see that he's got a white chest. It's like a speckled chest, and it's got that crest on the back, then the head there. Sometimes can be confused with the brown-chested snake eagle, but this is a really big bird. There we go. You can see that crest, and look at the beak. Enormous beak. When we look at the Wahlberg's eagle, it's also got a little crest on the back, but they're very, very small. They've got a very small, insubstantial raptor-like beak. Martial eagle, as the name Marshall implies, the warbird. Very, very cool. Huge range of food that they do have. Everything from small to medium-sized mammals and birds, large birds. But they are a very, very good hunter of monitor lizards. I've even found one on a Sharp's Grijsbok and a Steenbok before. Beautiful dawn chorus. Give you a moment to just soak in the morning sounds. Boomshak, the biggest prey, the small antelope, medium-sized antelope, baby impala, Sharp's Grijsbok, Steenbok, monitor lizards, snakes, and also very aggressive to other predatory birds as well. It's one of the biggest around, so it really will sort out absolutely anything. So large birds, I mean, the fish eagle's been known to take flamingos in habitats where they occur together. So I wouldn't doubt that this would be able to take geese, storks, herons, any of those kind of birds, if they're unsuspecting, are definitely prey to a large bird like this. And get up to just over 6 kilograms in weight, with enormous, sharp, strong, taloned feet. and they dive bomb. They come out of nowhere, soaring in the sky, pick up on some prey, and they come down at an incredible speed and hit that animal. Julie, you want to know about why it's called the martial eagle? The scientific name is Polymetus, I'm saying it correctly, and it's derived from a Greek word polemos, which means war, and etos, which means eagle. And then the bellicocus, which is the species name, is a Latin word meaning warlike. So both the genus and the species name refer to some form of aggression, some form of war. And obviously in battle, we marshal the troops, or the marshal of the battlefield. So they are very, very well known as being extremely aggressive hunting birds. And so hence the name has been derived from that. Very interesting bird. We don't get to see them all the time. They are regarded as one of the special six, or the big six birds. They nest on sort of flat canopy trees or top of knob thorns on little platforms, and their numbers unfortunately have declined quite dramatically. Their range has reduced. We might see, probably in Juma, we might see the same bird over 5-10 years. We think sometimes we see different birds. You might go through the Kruger, but you're seeing the same bird. There aren't that many of them around, which is very, very sad. Regarded as vulnerable in South Africa, but there's lots of work with many research organizations trying to improve their ecology, trying to improve their sort of survival. But as with many conservation stories and human encroachment, it is a very, very difficult battle.
Yes, now I have one extra female, and looks like it is Olalashe and two girlfriends. And then I have Kijana, the young male. We will be sharing him with you shortly with another girlfriend quite a distance away. We cannot see them in the same frame. So here I have Olalashe with two females. Now I have come to learn that the collared female that we always see is the mother to the two. And Olalashe has moved in. I have some hippos not very far from where I am, and that's why you can hear that grunting noise. It's the hippos. We'll be sharing them with you also. But the two young lionesses are daughters of one of the collared females. So it means Olalashe has taken over, this territory together with Kijana. This pale lioness is still trying to present herself to this big, massive Olalashe male lion, but looks like he is very tired and not convinced, but she's still insisting. She has done that multiple times. They usually do present themselves to the male, and usually they mate, but looks like he is not very interested, Olalashe, and looks like he has moved on. And the girl is not leaving her alone. She is very persistent. She's going after Olalashe. Yes, they've gone behind, there, so I have to move slightly. Allow me to do that, because things might get very, very interesting, as, now we will be able to show you everybody in one frame, maybe. Yes, here we are, and I have Olalashe behind that bush, and the pale lioness, but at the same time we have Kijana up there. Yeah, that is Olalashe. He is hiding behind that bush. Maybe he doesn't want to turn because the sun is getting hot, so he has decided to stay behind a bush. He doesn't want to warm up. That is Kijana, and he's got one of the three lionesses, and I haven't seen him mate, but Tim saw him mating with one of the females, so it means, Olalashe did accept him as a partner and allowed him to mate with one of the females. These might get very interesting. This is one of the daughters of the collared lioness, who is very close to Olalashe, the young male, and the daughter is heading towards the young male. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see. Looks like the steam burnt out as she got close to Kijana, the young male, and also Kijana is not very interested, but he is asserting dominance by marking and strengthening his territory over there, over intruders. But at the moment, when a female is in season, usually collision brothers don't like each other. They are enemies. They don't like each other at all. Okay, looks like Kijana is in hot pursuit. Chick, a jumbo. Will the lioness keep insisting if the lion, ignores her? Yes, she will continue. They are very persistent, and eventually he'll give in. That's a beautiful shot. Thank you, Bungay. You can see, look at the sizes in the comparison, the male to the female. You might think that he's a young male, he's small, but look at the front legs, look at the head, look at the chest, look at everything. Males are double the size of, females. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Well, Olalashe is still the king. Yes, you could tell that Kijana just arrived with the lioness, and Olalashe just stood up, and Kijana assumed the submission position. This is really beautiful. Just continue talking to us. #WildEarth. Question, comments are really, really welcome. This is a very interesting situation here because Olalashe definitely is the most dominant male here. Kijana is a coalition to Olalashe, and this lioness was with Kijana, and now he's come towards Olalashe, and now they are there. It's a standoff. I don't know what's going on in their mind. Sometimes I wish I would tell exactly what is happening, but looks like the female is still in steam. She's still in season. She wants to mate, but she's looking for Olalashe. But Olalashe is not ready, and everybody has to wait. It's such a beautiful morning. In the last 4 days, we haven't had this kind of morning with sun. It's been cloudy. We've been having rains, but it's a very wonderful morning, and I think we're going to have a very hot day today. I'm not complaining, but a change is very, very welcome. Remember that lions live about 15 in the wild and about 20 in captivity. And here in the Mara Triangle, we have a good number of, okay, looks like, the collared lioness is still very
in season, but both males are not ready for some reason. It's very interesting. Yeah, no, none of the two males is ready. It's very interesting. Well, I'm sure they will be ready soon because there's no way they can allow anybody else to mate with them. So I'm staying here, see what unfolds. Don't you worry, you won't miss anything. Let's see what's happening with another safari vehicle.
Isaac from Lions to Lions, welcome to andBeyond Ngala. We've managed to find the Birmingham Pride this morning. Beautiful light. Welcome, I'm Dan. Behind the camera we've got OG the OD. And what a lovely morning. It's about 16 degrees at the moment. The sun is shining and the lions are playing around. How's that sun zooming in towards the lions? You can see the light off of the grass and off the manes of some of the males. Look at that glow up he gets. That looks like the Birmingham young male that's about to get up. So this is the perfect time. We actually headed into the area where we left the wild dogs yesterday, which was very close to these lions. The lions continued walking down the road. I'm sure the wild dogs are going to go in the opposite direction. Have a look at the white line. You can see the contrast or the difference in the color between that normal colored, his brother, the older Birmingham young male, and that young, white young male. They haven't moved very far from last night. I think they're still quite full from the other day, from that giraffe that they killed and ate. They're also in quite an open and exposed area. We did drive past a few impalas on the way in. Watch, there's these two over here, busy stalking and playing. See what happens, using the bush as cover. Her brother's coming up in front of her. Finding some entertainment from that stick. See what happens. Her brother's watching her quite intently from the other side of the bush. He might pounce, try and give her a bit of a fright, although I think his cover is blown. Little boxing match. Siblings. See how his ears flatten like that? He's almost conceded defeat. You can see his mane starting to glow there. It's growing as well. Starting to grow particularly underneath his chin. Now we've just heard some other lions roaring in the distance. Actually, that's what got her attention. Be interesting to see. Can they form their own coalition? So interestingly, I wonder if that lion that's roaring in the distance, and it doesn't sound too far, maybe a couple of kilometers, may very likely be the brother of that Ross male that's in the distance over there, calling to see where everybody else is. So that young male who's just been, I guess, boxed by his sister, he may end up leaving and joining a coalition. But luckily for him, he's got other brothers with him. And he will use the brothers as support and strength. So he won't necessarily need to form another coalition, but there is a chance of young males leaving the pride, particularly if they are on their own. They may join up with other ones to get the strength in numbers. Look at this lioness. She's hopping up into the tree. You'll often see them going right up, stretching their claws, sharpening their claws. It's also like a territorial marker, not necessarily for this young lioness, but you'll see leopards crawling up, scratching and claw marking on trees, rubbing and putting their scent all over it. not the most amazing hunting ground where they are now, super open. They're quite exposed. So also, well noticed, there are two of them in particular that are white over here. And very luckily, this is the Birmingham Pride. And this is an area that is very well known for the genes of white lions. It is in fact a recessive gene that doesn't come up very often. And when it does, the lions very rarely survive. So these two, there's a young female and a young male. They've done incredibly well to get to where they are. And as far as I'm aware, in terms of wild open systems, there are only about 4 of them in the world. Recently, one discovered a bit further east of our position in the Kruger National Park. So this is a very special scene. This is one of the very few places that you can come and see wild white lions. See a little yawn there. You can see that young male. His mane also just starting to grow and develop. There's this lioness that's also over here, climbing up into the tree, this separate tree, and behind her you can see the young female, the white one, just watching. Now, Odie, it's a beautiful scene, eh? How's that sun? You can still see there's quite a lot of moisture on top of the grass as well. Oh, right up the top. So we're going to spend a bit of time with these lions. They seem to be in quite a playful mood, and it is quite early. I'm going to hang around and see if maybe the wild dogs aren't running around above us. But we're going to spend some time with these lions.
From the very playful lions to a slowly grazing elephant. So every morning, these elephants walk from the downhill of the Ololo escarpment, grazing slowly on this savanna land, and they end up by the marsh. So this is the daily routine that they always do. And as those young ones carry on through their life, in time when they become independent, they'll also take the same routes, walking from that escarpment all the way to the marsh. So when the calves are small, be it male or female, so males will prefer to be adventurous. And sometimes, because they know when it comes to teenagehood, they will leave the nettle herds and to form the bachelor herds and walk with the big bulls. Females always watch and follow their mother's instinct because they never leave the nettle herds. They follow the matriarchs, whatever they do, how they carry on from one place to another, defense, feeding, and of course the little behavior that they learn from them as they carry on in each and every day. So that matriarch with crossed tusk, I've seen her for a long period. She is one very famous elephant to me. She's done a very good job. She's raised a very big herd. And I saw one time that they got to split up because this herd became so big. I've watched her cross the Mara River countless times. You can see how they're slowly flapping because it's still cool. They don't need to flap as much because when they're flapping, they're cooling off the blood in their body system. So it's still chilly, very nice temperature. The grass is soft and moist, and they're pulling it with ease. You can see that tiny calf. Phantom power, I want to hug an elephant as well. They're so cute, adorable. Who wouldn't want to hug an elephant? Now that little one is watching how these other ones are grazing and pulling out the grass. At that age, they don't have the coordination of the trunks. So it becomes difficult for them to pull grass, to pick or to use that very much, but they're trying. But when they come to about 2.5, almost 3, they become very, very progressive in how they use their trunks. Wow, look at that. Got lucky, picked something there. But you can see The coordination is a little bit loose. He keeps on trying as much as he can to get something in his mouth. That fiddly trunk. So they follow the mother's instinct and follow the mother's sign and language and carry on as they progress through the savannah. So the matriarch is the one that commands every member of this herd to either stop to graze because the little ones are still weak. They can't really keep up the pace sometimes, so they have to walk in a very slow pace so that they don't get as tired. So this herd consists of young males, females, and closely related blood relatives here. So in times when these herds become big, you find that sometimes they get to split off, or maybe sometimes out of bad luck, the matriarch comes to die. So the sister will take over to be the matriarch. And sometimes you find that these herds might split up. And when they split up, you find the blood-related elephants carry on to split these two groups. But often at times when they come to graze, they mingle with each other as they carry on to their daily activities. Elephants have their own personality, just like humans. Some humans can be hungry, angry, playful, joyful. That's the same case as elephants. I'm going to sit here, watch these elephants as they're walking through. It's a very, very nice morning as I take you over to another live location.
As elephants have their own personalities, lions are very similar in that. And you'll see them interacting differently with one another. And being able to spend every day out here, you start to develop and understand some of their personality. Look at those two siblings. They've taken a super liking to that branch. The female on the left-hand side, the young female, she was initially jumping up into the tree, and then her brother came over and he broke the branch. You see how it's hanging over there now? She's climbing up. Yes, it's quite amazing. They've taken a serious interest in that. I wonder if they can smell something strange on there, or if they're just playing with the tree. The hanging branch is providing some serious entertainment for the young male. Up he goes. Look at that paw. Look how he's using it almost like a hand or a scoop to get that branch closer. Intriguing his sister. Go around from the other side, get a different angle, get a different view. Watching around, using this cooler weather, or at this time of the day, to move around, play, release some energy, affirm their social bonds as well. In that young male and that young female, they're about 2 years old or so, and that male's probably got maybe another year or so if he's lucky with this pride, and then he'll have to leave, which can be a little bit of a traumatic process, particularly leaving your sisters, your mothers, aunts, grannies. But he's very lucky. He's got a couple of other brothers here to leave, and they're going to probably and hopefully form a real strong bond. But look at this lioness sneaking up on her other brother. Wonder if he's going to get a fright. slowly, carefully. Oh. She's awfully dominating this morning. Lots of ankle tapping, lots of paws to the face. Come down and lay right in front of him. I think her paws are even almost on top of his left paw, roll over into him. Leopard lover, will the white male be accepted when it comes to mating, if I heard that correctly? He will indeed. And actually, quite interestingly, this young male, I think the lions can see the difference. I'm sure they'll be able to see the difference, but they treat him no differently whatsoever. He is actually one of the more dominant ones out of his brothers. And because of that, there's a good chance of him being the one that actually does the mating. Look at him standing up there. There'll be a hierarchy between the brothers, and quite an interesting thought. So he's just walked up to his older brother from a different father who's amazingly not been chased away from this pride just yet. And he may actually end up joining these younger males when they leave. And that'll, because of his age, being quite a bit older than the young one, almost double his age, he'll probably be most dominant, having the first breeding right. But if that young white male only moves away with his brothers that are the same age, I'm almost certain he's going to be the one with the first mating right. He's already somewhat bigger and somewhat stronger, and if you watch him around a carcass, he will push and shove his way ahead of his brothers. Walking over, let me have a look and see if that is a male or a female that he's walked over to. So these two have picked up a stick, and the female kind of chasing and playing tag and teasing the male. See if he goes ahead. Just running around in the light, playing. Jeez. Cheetahs, how's that? Tackle in midair. Super important skills. And you see how the lioness, the female, is actually doing a lot of the dominating. The young male, although he's a bit bigger and a bit stronger, getting a bit beaten up by his sister. Sure, I couldn't agree with you more. What a little troublemaker. I'm still trying to work out who's the troublemaker in this situation. Maybe it's the two of them, but who's instigating it here? I think it might be the female. She's the one that had the other brother on that first branch. Then she stole the branch and ran away with this male's branch. Maybe that's why he was so intrigued and chasing and following her. But a troublemaker, yes, they've run quite a long distance for a stick. And you see, she's kind of moving around, edging, putting pressure on that male. I think it's definitely the female that's being the troublemaker here. Watching. This male better work on his skills before he has to leave this pride if his smaller sister's giving him such a hard time. Look at her standing above him, watching, looking down on him. The lighting's just beautiful through this open area, glowing on her right-hand side and left-hand side of the screen. Just not walking too far, making sure that her brother knows exactly who's boss at the moment. So it is starting to warm up. I mean, they are still moving around and playing, or at least the sub-adults are. sure they're going to try and find a spot to settle down somewhere in these open areas. There's lots of quarries and lots of shade. It'll be interesting, I mean, with the wild dogs being so close yesterday and going away, if they chased an impala or something through here, they would also try and, particularly in the chaos, they would definitely try and take one down. Impala won't last a very long time between all of these lions. Big cat lover, this made your day? This has made my day so far as well. I mean, it's only just begun. But it's hard to think of how it's going to get much better than this. My big cat lover, I hope your day gets better, but it's going to be tricky to beat this. Amazing, that male's hair or mane is just glowing in the light. Looks like one of the Ross males who is the father of these cubs who have been super playful today. They've got pretty good genetics from that male who's done an incredibly good job of looking after them and bringing them up to being this age.
Well, from lions in South Africa to lions in Kenya. And this one, they have decided to take a morning nap. You can tell they are flat out. This is the Olololo pride. Pride that has been actually hit by a lot of separation. We only see 3, but believe me, this pride was almost 18 about 1.5 years ago. One of the main males was killed by a buffalo, and so the other one got actually ousted, and we haven't seen very many of them. The only ones we see, they have been the collared lioness and her 2 cubs, who are fully grown. Now Olalashe took advantage of this unattended pride and has taken over with the young male lion from the Owino pride. It means that Olalashe will be dominating 2 prides, namely the Owino pride and the Olololo pride. I don't know if he'll manage, but historically it has been known for more than 2 male lions to take over even 3 territories. There is a history of that in the Mara, and this is what is happening. Over here, the 3 females have come into season, and they have been mating with these 2 male lions, and looks like it's not over for the females. They are still insisting, but the males have hanged their boots. They are not mating anymore. It is towards the end of mating, well, when the ovaries are really stimulated, and right now it's a time maybe when they will actually conceive, and the males know that, so they don't need to mate that many times. They wait until the female is really ready, and then that's when they will mate. And they won't let another male come in here to try and mate with them. Looks like they are very, very well fed. They ate maybe a couple of days. All of them look very, very happy. Their tummies look very full, so they don't need to eat right now. It's just a matter of resting, and if the male comes ready, becomes ready, he will mate with them. Now, after this, they don't need to stick to one another, but because they are from the same pride, they will stick for a while. The males might decide to go and check on the other pride, the Owino pride, which is only about, maybe, as the crow flies, 10 kilometers away. They might go and check on them, and while these girls are left here, they will wait for about, 3 months, 3.5, for them to get their cubs. Usually the experienced females will give birth to more than 3, even 4, something like that. The new ones, like the 2 daughters, I don't think they've ever given birth. They will give birth either to 1 or 2. And yeah, usually everybody hides her own cubs for the first few days so they can get an imprint of her, a smell, and after about 1.5 months, 2 months, that's when they are all introduced to one another. And that is a very joyful time because different cubs find, cousins to play with. Usually a very beautiful moment. I'm looking forward to that. It's a long way, but you always have to be hopeful. And that is the beginning. Sorry, is it Dale? I didn't hear the whole comment. If you could rephrase it again, that would be very, very, very nice. Yeah. I didn't hear the... Zero. Thank you for your comment. You say split nose, aka Bob Marley's single, they should go for him. Well, I don't think he's got a territory, and I don't think they would allow a nomadic guy without a home to just, take over. They're also very careful. If it was that way, definitely they would be there, but it works slightly different. They have to feel confident to come into season to mate with him, and I don't think he's got the power to really dominate them and force them to come into season with him. So it's slightly different, but practically it could work, if you just thought things could work that way, then it would work, but it's totally, totally different. Yes, it looks like they won't be going very far, these guys, because it's warming up, and this is a prime estate, as I always want to call it, an area with water, cover, plenty of food. I always call it a prime estate, and they are in a prime estate. I don't think they will be going very far. There are lots of trees for shade, so definitely they won't be going very far. Well, I'm sticking here, see what happens. Let's see what's happening in a different location.
From the lands where Isaac is, welcome to this other side of the Mara, where I have a raptor, and it seems like it's sunning itself while scanning this area. So I'm going to ask the viewers the name of this particular raptor. Seems like it's preening itself, tucked in his head on the other side. But in a short while, yes, there. He's back again. So I'm going to ask the viewers the name of this raptor. Remember, we're coming to you live for your question and comment, hashtag WildEarth on the YouTube comment section at FC. For our young viewers, kids question at wildearth.tv. Megan, keep on trying. It's a different kind of eagle, but well done. Keep on trying. Thank you so much. That is a well done answer. That is a long black-chested snake eagle. So the black-chested snake eagle sometimes can be mistaken for when they are at a long distance from the martial eagle, from how they perch and how the black lining comes on the upper part of their body. But yes, that's a black-chested snake eagle. You can tell snake eagles by looking at their heads. They have a bit buffy heads. The brown snake eagle, the black-chested snake eagle. So all these snake eagles have buffy heads. So this raptor here is scanning over for prey. So they'll take off snakes, rodents, lizards. I've once seen this kind of bird take a 30 centimeter pafada. They have very strong talons, which helps them also to subdue their prey. Any slight movement in the grass, they will dive to catch up that prey. So while this snake eagle is busy looking for prey, I might carry on to see what else I can find. So it's rained yesterday and it seems like we have very wet roads. I'm expecting to find cats on the road or maybe sunning somewhere. So as I try to find something, let me take you over to another live location.
Well, still same position, but Kijana is slightly up. He's, I think, getting warm. I can tell he's breathing faster. It's rather very interesting that the females are still in season, but the males have run out of steam. Yeah, that is the mother to the two. Are they gonna mate? Yes, looks like it. We have it. Yeah. Well, yes, definitely looks like we will be having cubs. With the lions, the females have to really be confident with the males that they can be in charge and, feel like, they will have a territory that will be protected. The cubs won't be killed. And I think the first few times when Olalashe was mating with the two, lionesses vigorously, these I think was Team saw them, I think, they were just not ready, because it is over 7 days since they mated, and it has been known for the females, when they are really forced to mate, and that's just to accept the situation. I hope that it passes. But since it has been extended, I think they are ready to conceive, and that's why now Olalashe has taken over, and looks like we have a pride. We will be having cubs in 3.5 months. And also them hanging around this area, they have learned that there is no dominant male here. So, it is about time that they take over, and that's why they have stayed here this long. I'm just very excited about this, because it means, the next coming months, we will have little ones, around to see. I'm looking forward to that. Well, after mating towards the end of the female, when she's in estrus, after mating, she will roll over, and that is, it is said, is actually to help the sperm, spread, and so that she, increases the chances of her, conceiving. And towards the end also, the mating can go from 15 up to 30 minutes. Yes, it's a long wait, but it can go from 15 to 30 minutes. And then again, she has to come, present herself, and force the female a couple of times until the male, accepts, to mate again, like we saw. That is one of the other, the pale lioness, I call her, pale lioness. She's doing a bit of yoga. They are very, very flexible lionesses. Look at that. She has to clean her backside, so they're very flexible. They can stretch. Very muscular, very, very fit. Look at her. I think she is a beauty. Floating impala. Why? Sorry, I think we have to rephrase the question. Why doesn't she fight? I didn't hear the whole question. Sorry. Why does she, or no, she fight her towards the end? He fight her bite her towards the end. Well, at the beginning, I think it's very active. Towards the end of the mating, it's not as active, and she has agreed to everything. So there is no much biting towards the end. It's just how it happens. But every now and then, she will, it changes from one mating to the other. She will bite one, another one not. But towards the end, it's actually quite different. Things slow down. There is no much affection. And the one thing that you saw that was amazing for me is the distance between the two males, and one of them is less concerned. He is not worried at all, which is very, very, very unusual. But every time, he stood up at the beginning, the big guy, you could tell that the young guy was very submissive, but he's not interested. That is an interesting behavior that I have learned today, that, one will mate very closely. Most of the matings I saw, none of the males accept, one another close to the female that they are mating with. This is the position they have assumed, and they might be in this position for the next 10-15 minutes before she is ready again to ask him for some more. When you see that, it means it's coming towards the end. And this is a different one. I think this is the female that wasn't mating earlier. They started out mating with a colored female. That was Olalashe, and now he is with the young male. So it's slightly different. She's still, in steam, but Olalashe is 50-50. He's not accepting all the, chances that, he's been given. It is warming up And I'm sure they will gonna walk towards one of the trees. We have quite a good number of trees dotted around here. Apart from the lions, we do have other animals around us. It's just a beautiful scene that I have here. I have elephants that have come out of the trees, and they're taking a casual walk out in the plains. Look at that. This is a small, herd. Not very many young ones, but they're all coming from behind and a long way. Yeah. This is a very good time of the year to see elephants. They're all over, they're everywhere in the Masai Mara. I'm not saying that, we rarely have them. We do have them year-round, but lots of young ones at the moment and in the long grass. Unlike, we normally see them mainly at the marsh in the dry season, but it's just lovely to see them scattered all over. Here comes the pale lioness. I don't know what she's up to. Let's see. She's going straight to Olalashe. Well, she's still very much in season, but the guys are a bit tired. Yeah, I'm staying here for a little bit more, see what happens. Let's find out what's happening somewhere else.
I'm sure that they are tired. They seem like they've been busy for a while, and so mating period, you often see the males being rather fatigued. Anyway, it is a good morning from our side of things. For those of you that know me, you'll know who I am, but for those of you that don't, my name is Tristan. On camera, I have got Theo this morning, and well, we have been bumbling around the southern parts of Juma and Chitwa. We found some impalas alarm calling, but couldn't find anything where they were. We drove around for a long time. It was in an area close to where Sabi and the cubs were last night, but there's no sign of anything. We checked high and low, and they all started to relax pretty quickly, so I think they must have seen a hyena or something like that. So we've just been scratching around. I've been trying to see if there's been any sign for Kuchava and the cub. They often are on the eastern side of Chitwa, but there's been no sign of them either. No tracks to work with. Sabi and cubs, the reason why I'm not too worried about them is because they seem to have gone south into a net. Last night when we came here, they were just south of the boundary. We could see the vehicles, but we couldn't see them. Movement would have been further south again, or they're still in that area. So we checked the boundary, no sign of them coming north. So like I say, we're going to go try and see if we can find Tandy and cub.
Well, definitely, yeah, the dominant males are not dominant anymore, and the girls are not giving in. Yeah, that is the sound of a happy lioness and a very grumpy lion. It's one of those sounds that are unmistakable, and you only, hear it here in the African wilderness. Remember, this is live. It's coming from the Mara Triangle, Masai Mara. Your questions and comments are really, really welcome. Remember to tell a friend to watch us on YouTube live stream. Questions and comments are really welcome. Yeah, send them to @FC. This is the Olololo Pride and two males that just took over very shortly a few weeks ago. And I'm just loving the dynamics. Things are starting to take root, because now it means we have males that have taken over this pride. We used to have, half-tail and fang in this pride about 2 years ago, but half-tail was killed by a buffalo, and then fang crossed over and went to the marsh, so he's no longer with us on this side, and that's why this pride had nobody for a while, and yeah, these two boys decided to come and take over. Well, Serial Jumbo, what happens to the young Olololo male lions? There is a little breakaway of three that are almost fully grown now. They're quite huge. They've been hanging around with one of the young lionesses at a place called Dirisha and that area. I'm sure you have seen them with Tim and also with David. They brought down a buffalo. Those are the four. The rest, I haven't seen them, but there is a lot of tracks that I've been seeing all over the roads, not knowing exactly who has, been walking around. So there is lions that I haven't seen in the last 3 months that I've been here, and we leave to find out who it is. But some of them are around, some of them we haven't seen. This is what happens when, males are killed or the pride is taken over. Things become very uncontrollable and permanent, and lions like that, they were too young to stick around with the main male, with the new male, because they could also be killed, and so they try and protect themselves by staying away, and that's what they did. And hopefully we'll get to share them with you when we see them. But yes, a few of them are around. Yeah, looks like it's nap time, and lions know how to do it. 18 to 20 hours of a day is spent sleeping. You might think they are lazy, but I always am the lion's advocate on that side, saying that they deserve to do that because the amount of hours they spend looking for food is a lot. I have seen a lioness walking for almost 5 hours, trying to make kills, missing, then walking to and risking her life crossing to another lioness territory, and killing, eating very quickly, and then dashing back towards her pride, about 7 kilometers. That is about 4 miles. It's a long way, and then getting back there, and she has to do that every other day. They do work a lot. Even the males, they can't stay for a week, just lazing around. But when rounds have to be made and territories have to be marked, they have been known to walk even 10 kilometers, making sure that all corners of their territory, are marked and message sent to intruders. So, they might look lazy, but I tell you, this is an animal that can be very, very active. Yeah. Look at that pose with that young lioness. She is quite pale compared to her sister and mother, and that's one way that we've been able to identify her every time I see her. Yeah, I'm gonna stick here for a little bit more. Things might get interesting. Let's find out, what's happening with one other of my colleagues.
Isaac, I really hope it does get a bit more interesting that side. This playful female just picked maybe the smallest worry in the whole area to find some shade. It's almost like she's kind of hiding from her brother, who's maybe about 10 meters away watching her. They're kind of like sitting in a stalemate. So picked his small little bush that he's going to sit behind and watch each other. It's starting to warm up. Interesting if they continue to stalk and play. But we left this Birmingham Pride temporarily not so long ago to try and see if we could find that other lion that was roaring. It might be a member of the Birmingham Breakaway Pride, who is actually incredibly close to where we are now last night. And that would be interesting. I mean, this Birmingham Pride got to about 28 members at one point, I think, and then split. I mean, 28 members or 28 lions is a lot of mouths to feed and can be incredibly tricky. But they kind of split up. A few lionesses went into the western part of our reserve where they hung around, and they haven't seen each other for about, how many years is it now? Almost 4 years, I think. I don't think they've come into any kind of contact. So it would be very interesting to see if they did come into contact and see if they actually did recognize each other. The Ross males, however, have been in charge of this pride for the past 3 years or so. And they've also been in charge of that Birmingham Breakaway. So they've been fathering cubs from both the Birminghams and the Birmingham Breakaway, chopping and changing, depending on the age of the cubs. That determined really how much time they would spend with which pride. And I mean, a male's role within a pride, males frequently change every couple of years. It can be every couple of months. Well, if they do start to father cubs, the best way that they can ensure the cub's survival is by patrolling territories, moving around in the evening, roaring and calling and announcing their presence to other lions that might be coming in. The biggest threat to a lion is another lion. Jon Snow, how many subadult males are in this pride? There are 3 subadult males that are about just over 2 years old. Then there's 1 male who's about 4 or 4.5 years old. So he's actually struggled along the way, but done incredibly well to get to about 4.5. And the reason for that is these Ross males that I was just talking about, when they move in to the pride, they quite sadly end up killing a lot of the cubs that were born recently, and they do that to ensure that the females come back into estrus or come back into the state that allows them to mate. Because the timing of the males with the pride there's no set amount of time. It depends on when another male comes to compete. They've got to make sure they use their time wisely and try and get cubs into the pride as quickly as they can. So when they do that, that young male, who's about 4.5 now, was about 1.5 years old, right on the edge of actually being killed by the males. And the past 3 years, he's been constantly harassed and tried to be chased away. But he lost all his brothers or one sister who's got the 2 cubs who we saw in the riverbed yesterday. But there were 9 of them to begin with. Only 2 have managed to make it to about 4.5 years old. And he's on his own in terms of brothers. I think seeing these new, younger subadult males being born and being brought up in this pride has given him a bit of hope. And I think that's what he's hanging on to. Hanging on for the day when those younger ones actually get chased away by maybe new males, or they get to an age where they kind of just spread out on their own. And then they may spend the next couple of years being nomadic lions, moving around, very likely together. There's a strength in numbers. And they'll have to spend the next couple of years kind of moving around together, almost ducking and diving in between different lion territories. And in that time, it can be super risky being a young, smaller male lion until they get to about 6 years old or so. That's when they will probably be fully grown. And that's when they'll start competing for different prides and different territories. It's interesting to see this lioness is still very happy, comfortable with her incredibly small quarry. Maybe the moisture in the grass is keeping her a bit cool. there isn't much of a breeze today. And you'll see a particularly early morning, an open area like this is often full of general game, including impalas and wildebeest, and sometimes zebra in here as well. But if you look around, there is nothing. This is a safe place for prey species, particularly in the evenings, and they'll hang around here so that they can see lions coming from a distance.
Well, the female lioness is up. The colored one, the mother of the other two, and Olalashe looks like he's interested. Yes, it is just a beautiful setting that I have here of the short grass, thanks to the wildebeest and zebra that were here maybe a week ago, and that is Olalashe, one of the most beautiful, gorgeous males of the Olololo pride. Looks like when we find him with Olololo, he's gonna be Olololo pride. When we find him with Owino pride, he's gonna be Owino. But for sure, we have seen them both, with both prides. That young male is from the Owino pride, and yes, Olalashe accepted him as a partner, and looks like he has taken it full force. And also the lionesses have accepted him as a male, so it's quite perfect. Remember to talk to us, hashtag question and comments, make it interesting. Talk to us. Yeah, the temperature is rising. You can hear the birds calling. Those are yellow-throated longclaws. The light is just beautiful, as you can see on these lions and lionesses. It's going to get a little bit interesting in the next, I don't know how many minutes, because there is a huge herd of buffalo that is approaching. I'm not promising anything, but buffalo and lions are enemies. So I don't know what will happen. I hope, the lioness and the lions see them in advance so that they can get away. But Olalashe is zonked out. He is flat out. He is just in another world. He is very fast asleep. Well, lions, just to tell you about this lion, a lion is an animal that is fearless. It's an animal that is very iconic to Africa and the whole world. The power it holds, people just love it. An animal that reigns supreme in these plains, and it is built for the kill. There is nothing else that goes on in a lion's mind apart from killing anything that is around. That is all that happens. It doesn't know anything else. And people fear and love them for both reasons. Look at that young guy. Look at the carnassial teeth. They're at their prime. They can be up to around 2.5 centimeters. And those are very important in when they're fighting, and also, breaking the skin of any animal. They use those ones. He hasn't grown a very big mane, but I am hoping in the next 1 year that his mane will be bigger. Well, I'm gonna stay here, see what happens. Let's find out if we have something else.
Welcome back to this other side of the Mara, where we have a very beautiful bird. It's that time of the year when we have migrants, lots of migrants coming through to East Africa, heading further south. Oh, it just left. That was a European bee-eater. The European bee-eater migrates all the way from north of Africa, Asia, and all the way to East Africa. These birds, as their name suggests, they'll eat on bees and other insects. And the interesting thing, when they catch the bees, they always hit repeatedly until that sting is off. So very, very cool to see. And I hope to get to see many of those, because they nest in big colonies. They nest on the riverbanks, where they drill a tunnel on the riverbanks. Okay, never mind. But it was nice to see that European bee-eater. I'll carry on, see what else I can find around these long grasses. You never know what's hiding in the long grasses. So I have a surprise. I think over in the distance I can see lions. So let me head there and see what lions they are, from which pride they belong. So sometimes when you stop to look at the birds, something else gets to appear. And because the long grasses sometimes can hide lots of animals, so we're always in the lookout, always in the watch for any slight movement in the grass. Sometimes behind the bushes, you might see what you just come across. Thanks to that bee-eater, you'll be able to see those lions there. If you're not for that bee-eater, you'd have just gone across. So as I drive to position myself for these lions, let me take you over to another live location.
I hope you managed to find those lions, Tim. And these two, brother and sister, the lions, they did move from their kind of small bushes and have a little bit of a wrestling match again. But they seem to have settled down once more. The sun is getting quite high in the sky, and with no breeze, it's starting to warm up quite quickly. Lots of attention giving to one another. Up he gets. See how he went straight for her throat and how she's kind of grabbed him around the head? Now she uses her back legs as well, but sharp claws, and if something is potentially around her neck, those back legs with those very sharp claws scratching on the head of whatever it is will certainly get to think again. So up he gets. See how he flicks his tail like that? Showing a sign of excitement, I think, in this situation. Interesting to see which big piece of shade. I think he might be looking around for a piece of shade to settle in. Maybe to try and get away from his sister, who been pushing and shoving him this morning. Listening, there are a few baboons that are alarm calling in the distance. If that might not get his attention. Let's see what happens here. Oh. So he is kind of getting to the age. He almost looked like he was going around to smell his sister and see if she might not be ready to mate. He wouldn't mate, she wouldn't let him. But that's the time of age in his life. Oh, jump. If the males start to see that kind of behavior, that's a sign for them to almost start chasing these young males away. Look how you see how he smelt underneath her tail there, and she got super aggressive. She's not going to let him do it. She's also not ready. She's too young. But that's how they ensure that interbreeding doesn't occur. That when the young males are starting to do this and starting to flirt with their sisters, essentially, that's a sign and a good time for them to eat. see. So she's picked quite a nice, much bigger guarri that side. Go and lay under. Hoping she was going to pick the guarri that's right in front of us, but she's got a better choice than we've. Smell around very like, oh, she actually had a little soft contact call there. I don't know if you picked it up. She goes, the shade, a much better shade option than the first tree she was hiding behind. It was tiny. Wonder how long it's going to be before her brother decides to join her. She looks very happy and content there. I wonder if he's going to go and join her, or maybe go and join up with another few members of the Pride who are also seeking out shade at the moment. He's incredibly exposed, right in the sunlight at the moment. It won't be a matter of time before he looks for the shade. So Rachel, would they recognize each other as brother and sister for life? I'm sure they would recognize their smell, but from sight, I don't think so. From what I've read and how I've noticed, they don't recognize each other. They actually lose recognition quite quickly. And if you heard that young female's contact call, even lions who are very familiar with each other and spend lots of time together, they will contact call and smell to try and prove that they are related and that they know one another, to try and avoid any kind of conflict. So for life, I don't think so, particularly because this male, when he gets up and moves away, is very unlikely going to be coming back this side. He's going to get up and go as far away as he can, particularly because he's going to have a few years before he'll be able to take over his own pride. The males of this one are going to do a good job at chasing him away. It's either that or he gets unfortunate. So he's going to make some space. The jackal's alarm calling. And, that Birmingham breakaway, or that line that we heard earlier, isn't close by here. Baboon's alarm calling, jackal alarm calling. Might be a good place to go and have a look just now. It is starting to warm up. I wonder how long it's going to be. I mean, that female's still got her head up, looking around. She's still very much awake and alert. I don't know how long it's going to be before she puts her head down to rest. Even when she is resting, she's certainly alert, listening, smelling, and looking around her for danger. Although you think lions are right at the top of the food chain, they are still incredibly at risk, particularly to other lions. That Birmingham breakaway pride, which I said was close here last night, and if those jackal are alarm calling at maybe another pride of lions, if they came through, she'd potentially be in danger. She's got the numbers and the support of the rest of the pride around her. They're not too far away. I think what I'm going to do, particularly now that it's heating up and that female's gone and found the shade, I'm going to go and have a look and see if I can follow up on those jackal alarm calling, see if maybe that pride isn't close by.
Well, I changed the position slightly so that I could share the view the lions are having. That is a small herd of buffalo that just appeared. There's a few small herds like that around here, and it just appeared, and I think they were very lucky they didn't come towards the lions, or I would say the lions were very lucky the buffalo didn't come towards them, because they would have chased them around, or maybe the lions would have gone for the young buffaloes. They try to avoid one another, but every now and then, the lions will try and hunt buffalo. It is common for them, and it's the only predator that is able to do that. apart from, hyenas that can combine efforts and, bring down. Okay, this young male is gonna mate again. Yeah, she's not ready. That's not the position. Yeah, looks like it's about 20 minutes. So it's coming towards the end. And I think this is when she really gonna, get pregnant. Yeah. yeah, Kijara is really confused. What is all this? Yeah, she is very ready, and he's like, when you're really, really ready, I'm gonna be ready. Let me go and have a little bit of a break while you think about it. Yeah, interesting behaviors. I hope you are enjoying this. It's live. It's coming from the Masai Mara, and what is Olalashe thinking? Look at that, look that he gave that lioness. What is gonna happen? Is the colored lioness gonna follow young male? I don't know. Yes. Look at her coat. Very, very healthy. It's almost shiny. Is he gonna pass by Olalashe and just talk him off? Tell him a few things. Beautiful, look at that. Yeah, definitely. He's not interested. Move on. Well, during mating, it can be quite intense, and over 300 times in about 7 days is no joke, so it can be tiring. And she knows, the colored lioness, that Olalashe is still stronger, and so she has gone towards him. He is not also ready, so she has to wait. Yes, this is a beautiful setting that I have here. The other, pale lioness has come to disturb Olalashe. Nah, I'm reading my newspaper. Marisa, did you say if the lion knows the family? Was that the question? Sorry, it was breaking up. Maybe you should repeat it. Yeah, zinatoka. Frame. Still not very clear about the question. How do males know if their family, if that is the case? Most of the time, males come in, they're not from the pride, because young males are Sorry, I think past that question, I cannot understand it. You're breaking off. I could not understand it. Anyway, male lions never stick around for very long. They're always pushed out. Young females will stay with the pride. And sometimes when the pride becomes too big, they will break away and go form new, pride. Like we have seen with the Olololos, it was a very big pride, but it has, fragmented quite a lot, and we're still looking forward to finding out, if they're all gonna come together. Yeah, there's lots of, wanting here by the females, but the males too tired. This is, I think, a strategy, a tactic that, they have to wait until the females are really in season, in heat, then they will mate, because it's toward the end, and the females are very receptive. This is where I think the ovulation is really on its climax. Now they will conceive, and so the males know that they just don't need to mate all the time. It's just a few times, and it's very okay. Okay, let's take you somewhere else while, I sit here and wait to see what's happening.
Welcome to the other side of the Mara, where we've come across 3 lionesses and 1 big male. It seems like these 3 lionesses are not happy with him. He looks like he has a scar on his face, and it's still fresh, so it seems like there was a fight before we got here. So these 3 lionesses are keeping him off. He's trying to get a little bit friendly to them, but they're not happy with him. So right on his face, he's got a very big scar, and it looks very fresh. He's trying to get flies off the wound. Oh, that's a big turn. Trying to sun or warm his belly. That lioness is just staring at him like, what are you doing? Don't get even closer to where we are. Thanks to that bee eater, we were able to see these lions here. I've tried to go round and round looking for them yesterday, but I never found them. But luckily we've come across them this morning, and I'm not going to leave this place because it seems like something is not right here. They're not happy with him. They're not welcoming him at all. So I'm here to see what's going to unfold. They seem so sleepy. 2 days ago, we saw two of the lionesses from the Ololo Pride. So the last day we saw the Ololo Pride trying to chase a big male that was split nose or Bob Marley. They were successful, they got him out. So this is part of the Ololo breakaway. And they're also not happy with this male again. Look at how his paw is on his stomach. What a nice pose there. Because of the rain yesterday, all of them seem like they're trying to get some warmth, and by lying just on that termite mound there, they're warming up because the sun is actually not as hot. So last night I saw this male, but over just a slight brush as he walked into the bushes. So I was hoping to find him, but now I've come across him with these 3 lionesses, and they look like they're not happy at all with him. So let's see what will happen He's on his comfortable position. I've seen the largest coalition of about 6 lions, where there was a big male lion called Notch. Together with his 5 sons, they made a very big coalition. They control a very big part of the Mara, and that was about like 10 or 12 years ago. So currently we have a coalition of four male lions, namely Scarface, Skio, Hunter. So they've also come to be very, very strong. So around here we only have one lion by the name of Olalashe, and is the one that Isaac is watching right now. That young male comes from the Ovino Pride, and I think he's going to team up with Olalashe and make a very good coalition. But the biggest male coalition I've seen is about 6 lions, and they got to be very, very proactive when it came to taking down hippos. So they take hippos, they only go for big prey, hippo and buffalo. Little stretch. Despite the male lions demanding respect from the rest of the lions, if they did not belong to that pride, the lioness will always retaliate and keep them off until against the respect and the authority to control. That is when the females will be cooperative and submissive to him. But at the moment, it seems like they're not happy with him, so he's not yet accepted. So he still has to struggle before they get to accept him. Morning yawn, little bit of morning groom. So off they go. These lionesses seem like they are on a mission. But look at them, they keep on watching him. So I'm sure he's going to follow, but just wait for the reaction and see what they will do. So he's following slowly, so let's see what will happen and where they're going to. So I'm going to stick here, watch these lions as I take you over to another live location.
Well, they have moved slightly onto the shade. Yeah, Lalasha moved. Sorry, the young Kijana moved and the females followed her. They haven't mated yet, but the collared lioness seems to like the young Kijana, and she's there. Those are very beautiful couple. Look at that, very, very healthy. Yes, that girl is very persistent. Yeah, I think she's very ready, to have his babies, but he's not ready yet. This is okay because he knows exactly when he'll do it. During mating, lions don't eat too much. If something really walks by or comes nearby, they will go hunt it, but basically they try and concentrate on the mating as much as possible. After mating, it's been seen that they might make a kill. It's like to celebrate, and then they split off, go in different direction for a couple of days or weeks. But if there is nothing, it has been seen that everybody could split, and everybody goes different direction until, another couple of weeks when they come back together. But during the mating, they stay very close to one another. Very, very close. Well, it has been a while since we saw any cubs with these olololo, females. And it's about time that we have cubs. It's been almost 2 years. Some of their cubs were killed by the river prides when they collided. And okay, is he gonna now? He's not ready. Yeah, it's really tough for these girls at this time because the males know that they have taken over. And I think they are not in a rush to do, the last meetings. But as I timed it, it took about 20 minutes from one to the other. So it could be happening quite soon. They've gone behind that termite mound, and I have to follow them. Lalasha is still fast asleep. It looks like he had a heavy night. He's got his head buried in the grass. I don't know if he was very cold with all the rain that we've been receiving and he's just enjoying the morning sun, or if it's exhaustion from, some vigorous mating that he's had for the last 10 days. I don't know if it's that, but definitely he wants a bit of his time, some lion time, and that's what he's doing over there. He's buried himself, inside that grass, so there's no wind, so everything is just heat that is hitting him, Yeah, he's just fast asleep. Mind you, even at that state, his sense of hearing is very alert, and that's what he is really dependent on in case another lion comes in, or an elephant or a buffalo approaches to try and kill him. He is listening. They have a very good sense of hearing. I'm sure he can hear everything I'm saying about him. He only cannot understand human, but he can hear me talking. Yeah, looks like they're going to hang around this spot for a little bit. I'm gonna try and move forward slightly so we can see the other two lionesses. They've gone behind a termite mound over there. Let me get there. But it's rather an interesting scene that I'm having here. And it's been a while since I saw lions close to the dam. So it's quite nice. Here they are, the two girls, right here, quite close to the road, so it's okay. I don't know where the young male is. He might be behind that. Must be behind that termite mound. When they're ready, they're gonna go and disturb him again. Yeah, I can see him actually to the right of the young pale lioness. He is right there. Like I said, this is a prime estate. While they're here, when the boys are not interested, a zebra might pass by, a wildebeest, and the girls definitely won't hesitate to go and, hunt. Typical of them to doze off after being active a little bit. Look at her, she's got no single mark. Even her ears are still very intact. It's just beautiful. That's her mom. At time, it's 6:30 this morning. It increases their confidence to trust me, and so they are not as worried, and they will go around with their own business. I have spoken with the same tone without raising it too much, and so it has become part of their small environment that they have created. But if I was to make a sudden movement, like stand up, scream due to excitement or happiness, then for sure their body language will immediately change, and that will disturb them. But otherwise, they don't get disturbed at all. And also, because they are colorblind, this is one solid object, the vehicle, me, and everything, and the diesel fumes dominate, everything else apart from my voice, and so we are just one solid object. But when I make sudden movement is when they can actually sometimes pick me up as a bipedal human or a human, and that's when they will, act differently. Are we gonna meet now? Looks like it. I don't know. Behind there. Is it gonna happen? Just hold on. Yeah, looks like it's going to happen. Well, I'll leave you to that while we take you to our next location. Okay, I think, well, it's just happened, and it is clear to me now that Kijana, the male lion, knows when she is really ready, and he's the one pulling the strings now. The female is presenting herself quite a number of times, but he knows when he has to mate with her. That is what I have come to conclude. So she is still in season, but he is pulling the strings. It's towards the end of the mating. He knows that this is the time that she will conceive, and he's the one to really judge exactly when.
So we've just left the Birminghams, and we're following up on jackal alarm calling as well as impala alarm calling, trying to see if we can't potentially find the other Ross male, or maybe even the Birmingham breakaway pride. There were a few tracks that were going towards where we were earlier. However, I think it might have been different members of the Birmingham pride rejoining. It'd be very interesting to see if the Birmingham breakaway and the Birmingham pride actually join for the first time in 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. That would put the Pride, I think it's sitting almost 40 lions, which would be quite a spectacle to see, don't you think? This area of the Kruger National Park is very well known, however, for these super prides. I mean, it's very tricky to keep 40 lions going. To try and feed them every single day is very difficult. That is why they actually broke up in the first place. And now we've got the two different prides, the Birmingham Pride and the Birmingham Breakaway. So I've just done a great big loop around this area. Not too many tracks heading in the direction that we're heading. But fingers crossed that they come out or we find them sleeping under a bush. I mean, it's not terribly hot just yet, but I think they're going to be doing exactly what the Birmingham Pride are doing and looking for shade. Tina, am I ever worried about being in an open car? No. I don't think I'm ever worried about being in the open car. It's something that I've gotten used to, and I actually feel incredibly privileged to be in an open vehicle like this. It's fresh air, sunlight. You can see the sky clearly above us. It's a beautiful day. I feel incredibly privileged to be in an open vehicle looking for lions, leopards, or whatever else I can in this natural wild environment. And to bring it to you live is a privilege in itself as well. So we're going to keep going along here. It's not an amazing part of the reserve in terms of these power lines, but we're going to keep going. This is potentially a spot where that breakaway pride could be. I'll keep you updated.
Good morning, everyone. This is Juma from andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. Right behind the camera, I have a rat, and here we are. We have a beautiful two lionesses. We just located them now. They just, as you can see, they're just lying down for now because it's getting a bit more warming up a bit. So there's here into our nice in the open area on our runway. So they're just waiting to see maybe some water coming around in the area. We're not sure if when was the last time for them to eat, but it looks quite thin. Hopefully they will come good luck today. So yes, it's a beautiful day this morning, and it's beautiful sunshine. It's warming up quite nicely. Yeah, like the airway, they just chosen to rest a little bit. Around the corner is like a small paddle of water being hauled. There might be some water later on, and maybe they'll come down to wallowing, cooling down themselves. This is a good place for them to rest. And as you can see, this one's just stood up again, just checking. Maybe she heard something, I'm not sure. Beautiful. Nothing really what we can see here. Otherwise, the other lioness is just lying on the airstrip. They do use that like normal cat. Use their like chopping the claw and like also stretching them as well, like anyone else does. Normal cat they do that. Yeah, this is a beautiful day, and there's nice shady with that one lying like that. If you take a look closer at how big is that paw, you can see it's a lovely a cat. This is a big paw, comparing like a dog, what you have, and then you can see that there's not a really small cat. That there's a small cat. There's a small cat. There's a small cat.
Well, unfortunately, as things go in the bush, sometimes we have technical difficulties, and so you are here now in Juma, up in the northeastern parts of South Africa. We have had a quiet morning so far. We've been trying desperately to find any signs of life in general, but it's been very, 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 very quiet. Even from an antelope point of view, we've seen very few impalas this morning. And no tracks to work with as yet, but that's not the end of the world. You know, things can change pretty quickly. It's still fairly cool this morning. The air has got a cool breeze, and so, you know, animals will still be moving around even though the sun is shining. So you never know, things can change pretty quickly. And we're going to try and head towards an area where we saw a hyena yesterday. It was wallowing in a little kind of mud wallow, and they apparently were seen again there this morning, which means that those hyenas have been there for 24 hours in the same area. And so I want to go and just double check what's happening there, see maybe if there isn't something. We couldn't find any signs of a kill yesterday, but it's very, very possible that there is something there. Hyenas don't stay in the same place for that amount of time without there being a reason. So we're going to go check that out. Hopefully it will bring us some luck.
Our lionesses have moved just for a little bit, but then stopped to rest because this male was following them. I can see him trying to stretch a little bit, trying to get closer, trying to cut them, but no, they're not ready for him. It seems like those two are youngsters, and the mother is the one that's lying down, and she's much protective of her teenage lionesses, who I think he's trying to get closer to them, or maybe he wants to chase them a little out so that he can mate with the mom, but not quite sure what's going to happen right now. So as they walk, he keeps on following them, but when they turn back and the mom growls at him, he stops. By the look of his face, it's evident that there was a fight that was here before we got here. So he has to be patient, and that's typically what lions sometimes get lucky of, or sometimes if patience doesn't pay, they have to be at least rough with them. The lucky thing is that these teenagers are already grown up and they can outrun themselves, they can run away from this big male. But if they were teeny tiny, then that would have meant that he will come and kill them so that he can make this lioness into estrus, which will come after 3 to 4 weeks period. But right now, the mom is so much protective of them because they're not totally independent. So lionesses will never leave the natal brides. But for him to court this lioness, he has at least to be rough and force himself in. But this is not what this lioness is up to. That's why he's keeping her at bay. Thank you so much for your question. This male is not related in any way to the females, and that's the reason why this lioness is not happy with him. If in case he was related to them, then what will happen? Normally, lions don't really keep up or want to mate with the lions from the same pride. So sometimes other big males will come and be the prime males. So in relation to that, he's not related to them, and for them to mate with lions, they have to at least mate with the lions from other prides which will not inhabit in breeding. Wagging tail, thank you so much for your question. Do they have cubs that are not from this male? No, at the moment, neither of these lionesses has cubs. And those two teenagers are not from this male. So to get to your answer, no, they don't have cubs that are from this male.
Welcome. We have been tracking the Telemati Pride for quite a large portion of the morning, but we've been unable to find them, and we've found ourselves in a very low signal area. We've now moved out. We head to the show. I hope everyone's doing well this morning. The lions are in the block over there somewhere. So, unfortunately, we're just going to move out for a little bit.
Well, as you can see, we are sitting at a waterhole with a pod of hippos that are lounging about and not really doing too much, as hippos generally don't do much at this time of the day. It's the time of day where they like to just be kind of in water and taking it very, very easy. You might find after the cooler kind of weather that we've had during the course of the night and this morning, that they actually come out onto the bank at some point during the day just to get a little bit of sunshine to warm up again. It depends on what the temperature of the water is. But given it's been fairly warm, I don't think it would be too bad. It's not like the winter months when it gets really, really difficult in terms of the coldness of the water. But you can see them kind of bobbing up and down. Typical hippo behavior, they sort of towards the edge of the waterhole where they'll be standing. So those hippos are not floating at all. They're just standing, and they seem to now be shy and not want to be seen at all. Part of the reason why we came to this waterhole is we briefly saw an elephant in a very dense area kind of moving in this direction. So I was hoping that he would pop out and come and kind of drink and make his way towards this waterhole. It looked like a young bull. So we're just going to be patient and see if they arrive. Unfortunately, these particular hippos at this dam often are quite shy and disappear. So what we'll have a look at instead of the hippos is the little dabchick that is to the right of it, or little grebe is its other name. Dabchick is the old name, so little grebe is the correct term to be using. Amazing to see these guys around, because during the period of from sort of 2015 to last year, we didn't see these birds at all. Most of these dams were dry, and so to see them almost on every water point at the moment has been really, really nice. I'm hoping that this summer we'll continue to see a lot of them arriving. There was a frenzy of activity when we had a huge rainstorm at the beginning of this year that brought these guys in, and so I'm hoping that we're going to see that again a little bit later. But it's just the one on its own. I don't see any others at this stage. There's also, you might hear the ever-present Egyptian geese that are also making a noise and huffing and puffing as they generally do. It's a beautiful morning though. It's clear and sun is out. Perfect morning to be out in the wilderness, especially now that it's summer, with all the greenery. When you get the sunlight, everything just seems so much more colorful and vibrant, and when you're not seeing animals, it still feels so alive in conditions like this. So very pleasant to bumble around this morning. All right, well, we'll probably wait a little bit longer just to see if that ellie does pop out. If not, we're going to carry on and go and investigate where those hyenas are.
Well, I left the lions because they seem to be in the same spot. Wanted to change a little bit to see what's happening, and I have come across these beautiful 3 jackal puppies. I don't know how many there were originally, but I've always seen 3. Very playful when they're young, and these guys have done really well. They're still vulnerable to big birds of prey like a martial eagle, a leopard. Lion, cheetah, wild dogs, hyenas will also kill them to reduce competition. But you saw how quickly they reacted to something that is their defense mechanism. They are very agile. They can dodge and dart and turn at very sharp angles within, milliseconds, and that is defense technique. Very young, still very playful. They haven't ventured out to start foraging with themselves. Remember, jackals are omnivores. They feed on plant matter, a few of them maybe fruits. We here in the Mara, I have seen them eating the desert date and some magic guari seeds and also wambogia seeds, but plenty of meat. Don't kill your brother. I don't know how many they were born, initially, but these are the only ones that I have seen. And they're doing very well. I haven't met the parents. They seem to be out of town every time I come. I don't blame them. 3 mouths are, stressful enough for them to be looking for something, but it means this is their home. They have moved dens about 3 times. I never saw them in the last 2, but here I think is the final one before they're fully independent. Really playing, look at that. They can be very quiet. A leopard lover, Jumbo. Does mom ever intervene when they, where the puppies play fight? No. At this stage, no. And when they're very young, I've never seen her intervene. But what happens is the fight usually breaks up naturally, either one being submissive or trying to get away from the brother, as you can see here. Yes, they are playing, but every time it becomes too much for one, he breaks away, and then the other one understands to ignore him for a minute before they get back. You see there is a lot of sniffing on the ground, like from the one to the left. It's trying to pick up different scents. Who walked here? What is this? Looks like a hyena, but yeah, a bit of rest. Their big ears help them to detect danger. Yes, they will hear something walking towards them. Yeah, moonset, they remind you of foxes. Of course, yes, they have that facial look, the pointed muzzle, the big ears, and also the dog-like feature. Yes, They are canids, all of them, but in different category. They do look like foxes, but these guys are closely related to dogs. Yeah, look at him coming towards us. Hello. I hope he doesn't go under the vehicle. They've been doing that. I don't want them to get used to that, because not everybody will try and chase them. Somebody might panic and start the vehicle, and they might hit their heads. Yeah, very inquisitive. It's always the behavior of most young canids. They get very interested in a vehicle. It's beautiful. Look at that. They're right in front of the vehicle. Actually, well, this is very beautiful, very, very beautiful. I hope you're enjoying it. I'll leave you to enjoy it a little bit more while we take you to another live location.
Come on where we lost the track.
Welcome back, everybody.
You turn around.
Hang on 1 second while we look at this bird.
Yeah, that line, you just drive on the western side of that drainage.
Lions have been found. Hey, hang on while I speak quickly. So, Sips, confirm where you and I had that conversation on Hunter's Moon Road access off there.
Yeah, affirmative. So remember you went around and drive east-west Catlan, just west of that junction. So take east-west Catlan from Hunter's Moon access, and then you just drive on the western side of that donga where they went in.
Copied. I'll be on my way shortly. Thank you very much. Okay, so the lions have been found just where we were looking for them. I'm not sure if we're going to have signal there, but we're going to go and try. Talamati Pride. But here is a wonderful male double-banded sandgrass, and it took Morgan a few moments to find him in the long grass because he got spooked by the car. He lay down flat on the ground and wasn't moving, and that's obviously the camouflage. Now, it is breeding season for these fellows, so a female might have already laid eggs, they might already have hatched, but I've seen once before female sandgrass moving away from a nest, and knowing exactly where the nest was, it took me 5 minutes to find the chicks. They are unbelievably camouflaged and perfectly adapted for just disappearing on the ground. Such a specialized behavior that this male has. He's able to fly to water. As most seed-eating birds, because these guys are predominantly seed-eating, vegetation-eating birds, most seed-eating birds have to feed their chicks insects so as to provide them with water in the nest, otherwise they dehydrate. But the double-banded sandgrass male specifically flies to water in the early afternoon, late afternoon, and he's got a massive big sort of chest of feathers that he ruffles into the water like a sponge, and he flies back to the nest and the chicks drink off of his chest. How cool is that? Such a nice behavior. So it means that they forage, they can just provide them with food out of their crop, and they don't have to actually go and change their diet.
Back to our lions, and they're still sleeping. Nothing has gone on for the last 10 or 15 minutes, but it seems like these lionesses are waiting for him just to make a move, and if any move comes on, she keeps on growling at him. Now, I've been sitting here and I want to see what's the reaction, what's going to happen, because these are some of the behavior we get to watch out in the bush, out here in the wilderness, and get to tell more about lion behavior. He's sound asleep. Looks like he was active. They were so much active during the night. And because it was cold, it was raining during the night, and this, oh, that's a little bit of a turn. Seems like his belly is so cold that's such that he wants to warm it. A little belly scratch. Face scratch as well. Oh, this lion is enjoying so much basking out here. You can tell they're the apex predator. Bit of a turn to check if anyone is around, but has not even bothered or less concerned with our presence. That youngster is looking around, scanning out for prey, and I can see over in the distance lots of zebras and wildebeest. Seems like these three might be on a hunt, but then because he keeps on following them, that's why they've chose to stay there. I wonder how long it's going to be, how long they're going to wait here, and if needed be, they have to walk away, and if it's a fight, they have to fight and see who's going to be the winner. Because the sun is not too hot right now, they're enjoying it. But I'm sure when it comes to about 2-3 hours later, because we don't have cloud cover, it's clear sky, so the temperature is going to rise. So they might need to go for shade. And that is the point where he might be falling, and I'm sure it's going to be a little bit of a tussle between the four of these lions. Trying to sniff the air, trying to pick any scent. Thank you so much for your question. Do female lions mate with multiple lions to trick them? Yes, this happens so often, and we've seen that recently here in the Mara, where some of the Ololo Pride lionesses were mating with Olalashe, the big male. So, in other words, you find that if a lion or a lioness is too close to two territories, he might mate both pride males from one territory 1 and territory 2. That is because if in case lion 1 or lion 2 crosses over to where she will be, they'll both think that the cubs are theirs. So that is one trick that lionesses use to make their cubs not being killed, and that is a very, very good way of insurance of protection. Thank you so much for your question. I didn't get your name clearly, but in terms of hours of sleep, it depends. Sometimes we've seen lions here sleeping for about 8 to 10 hours, but they reckon that lions can sleep up to about 12 hours in a day. So I would say, generally, in my opinion, they sleep about to 9 hours. I'm still patiently waiting to see what's going to unfold. So I'm going to take you over to another live location.
Well, I have something totally different. I have one of the snake killers, the brown snake eagle. And you can always tell these guys by their roundish owl-like head and the upright posture. Apart from that is the sharp, hooked, beak. And look at those penetrating eyes. Those eyes can see quite a distance. Usually they will hunt from one patch for even 20-30 minutes. And once they spot something, they fly down, and using those very long talons, they will grab it, sometimes killing it with the talons, but usually the final blow comes from that lethal beak. It's also used for shearing and cutting meat. I just love the yellow eyes. I hope you do also. Brown snake eagles. Snake eagle. We do have 3 types of snake eagles here. The brown, the black-chested, excuse me, and the banded snake eagle. I don't know if I'm allergic to him or what. Those are the 3 we have here. The banded, the black-chested, and the brown. And hence their name, they are known to take care of snakes. They pair for life, but they don't stick together very much. You might see one in a patch, another one quite a long ways away. And when they have young ones, that's when you really mostly see them at the nest. We are seeing more and more of these guys, which means that our ecosystem is really working well. Consulting detective, thank you for your comment. That beak is terrifyingly big. Yes, it is. This is a bird that you don't want to corner. Those talons and that beak can cause some harm, and especially to human skin, it will be like a snake knife cutting through butter. So you don't want to mess with these guys. Luckily, there's nowhere we normally collide, so it's perfect. Part of him being in that tree is that he looks like part of the tree. If you look from a distance, if you didn't know exactly what you're looking for, you would look like just the tree. Yeah, brown snake eagle. What else do we have, Bungay? Yeah, that is the sound of water. I forgot about the water. This is from the rains that we've been receiving. These streams usually runs, but not this high. Where I am, I'm standing at the bridge, and I'm sure last night the water was higher. Yeah, the water was much higher last night. Maybe it was close to the bottom of the vehicle, but it's lower today. You can see, on that side also. Yeah, it's going under the pipes. It's beautiful to see it running like this, because it's gonna clean up all the, Layla, did you say what prey? How big is the prey they eat? Did I get that right? If that's the question, they can eat something. Aether, thank you for your question. How big is the prey they eat? They can eat a scrub hare that is almost 1.5 kilos, but 90% of their diet consists of small rodents like field mice, common mice, and also grasshoppers, snakes, venomous and non-venomous, and also, small birds like chicks. They will eat them also. From where he is, he can see quite a long way, believe me, up to even 5 kilometers. And looks like he's looking for something. Definitely. I just love the posture that he's got. And how he turns the head. Seems like he has seen something move behind. Sandy Jumbo, is that the tree with the hammercopper nest? No, it's not big enough to hold a hammercopper nest. A hammercopper nest is like a bungalow. It can weigh even up to 40 kilograms, the nest. It is very heavy. That tree is not able to hold that nest. This is a different tree. Well, it's a hardwood, is Oleo africana, or olive tree, we call it. It dried up. I think the elephants debarked it, and so it dried up. But it has become a very good camouflage for the snake eagle to stand on and hunt. Sandy? Yes, our guy is still looking at something. I'm actually very happy that he is tolerating us. Normally, they would fly as soon as you stop. But this guy looks like he's very, very friendly. He hasn't gotten his full plumage. Still sub-adult, but he is a brown snake eagle. Gabi, thank you for your comment. You just love these raptors. Yes, they are beautiful, and they actually play a very big role in making sure that the mice and snakes don't become a menace over here in the plains. So they take good care of them. They actually, can also take small mongooses, but mongooses are very defensive. Yeah, it looks like he's gonna be here for quite a bit, and I don't wanna interfere with his hunting because it looks like there's something he's looking forward to getting from the other side, and so I'm gonna leave him. Well, before I leave, I will just leave you to enjoy him for a little bit while we take you to another live location.
Welcome back to andBeyond Ngala, and in the process of trying to follow those jackal alarm calls and those impala alarm calls, we ended up turning around the corner, and not terribly far away from where they were yesterday are these two little lion cubs. Mom is in the background, and over the past 10-15 minutes, she has been up and down, moving and taking her cubs somewhere, or it looks as if she's taking her cubs somewhere, and judging by the direction, it's as if she wants to join up with the rest of the Birmingham pride. This is that sub-adult young female. She's with her two 7-month-old cubs over here. Incredibly playful, lying in the shade. Mom does look like she's kind of passed out again. I'm really hoping that she keeps walking towards the pride. It would be amazing to watch her and follow her and watch this introduction. They have been introduced before, but they haven't been with the pride for a couple of weeks now. It'll be good for the female to see her brothers and cousins and aunts. For these little cubs to see their cousins and brothers and sisters and mothers and aunt grannies. It has warmed up significantly in the past half an hour. And looks like they've actually found quite a nice bit of shade. And luckily for us, there's some signal, so we can actually have a look at them and watch them for a little bit. It's quite thick around here as well. And Mom, I can hear lions calling, so can they. And you see how those little ears have poked up and are listening. There was a lion roaring. I don't think it's from the Birmingham Pride. No, maybe it's that Ross male who wasn't there this morning. Maybe he's calling. Be interesting to see what this female's decision is now. If she changes her direction to go back towards that calling that's just happened, or if she continues towards the rest of the Birmingham Pride where we were this morning. Ears poked up, listening, smelling. Wilfredo, do other lions kill cubs from another pride? The answer is yes, particularly males. When they move in to take over a new pride, one of the first things they will do is eliminate the cubs. And the reason, these cubs at this age, about 7 months old, would be incredibly vulnerable. Mom would do her best. She may spend months kind of hiding them and running away from the new males. But they will eventually end up catching up. And the first thing they'll do is try and get to these cubs. And the reason that they'll kill them is that this female won't come into heat or estrus until her cubs are about 3, maybe 4 years old even. And the new males won't have 2 or 3 years to spare to be able to mate with her again. However, if these 2 cubs do die, she will then come into estrus fairly quickly again, which will allow these new males to sire their own cubs. And that's what they want to do. They want to join into these bigger prides so that they can sire their own cubs and pass on their genes. These 2 little cubs, they've been in the riverbed for the past couple of days. Just taking it easy, not far away from their den site. But Mom is going to be continuing up, I'm hoping, in the next couple of minutes to take them back towards the pride. This might only happen a little bit later in the evening, but I'm going to spend the next short while with her in case she does continue towards the pride. With Mom popping her head down like that, that's not a good sign for her to keep moving. However, earlier, she was head down, sleeping, and then got up and moved. Then she went and found a shady spot, slept a little bit, got up and moved again. So there's a chance, particularly if those lions keep calling. Two little ones are also seeming to be exhausted over there. How's that bond, though? You see how they're right on top of each other? Rema is for male lions in open grasslands. The answer is no. It wouldn't be too difficult compared to a normal thick forest or shrubland. And the reason for that is they use their urine predominantly, as well as calls. So a call will be a way to demarcate territory, particularly in the early evenings and early mornings when it is at its stillest. They will call, and that call will transmit for up to 5 to 6 to 7 kilometers even. And that will be a territorial display, telling everybody else who's in the area that I'm here, I'm the boss, this is my territory. If you want to come in, do so at your own risk. With urine as well, they will go and they'll spray urine, they'll drag their back feet through it. This will put the urine into the ground to try and ensure that the scent stays there for a long time. They then also put the scent onto their back paws, and that'll transmit the scent wherever they go.
Welcome back to this part of the Mara where we have our lioness that are not is happy still with that lion. We've confirmed that this lion is from the other side of the Mara River, from the Mara Game Reserve. He's in a coalition of 6 lions. So they walk around together. His name is Kibogoyo. So that wound was inflicted from a fight on the other side. But it seems like when he got here also, he got some bit of rough and tough from this lioness. As you can see, he's scratching his face. So he's from the other side of the river. Oh, that's a long way from where he's come into here. And tell you, male lions walk a lot, and especially if they want to conquer or come into another pride area. So his brothers, the 5 of them, he left them on the other side of the river. They'll be able to conquer a very big part of the Mara. They've conquered the Marsh Pride, was originally patrolled or home area for the musketeers. They went over all the way to Topi Pride. They conquered the Topi Pride. So they've come around to here. So I think we've now come into a place where we see lions taking over other lions' territory. But since he's alone, and I saw last week, about 4 days ago, or last year with another young male, so I think those 2 can at least keep him at bay. So the dynamics of how lions walk into this game reserve and this conservancy, it's very, very interesting as how big of a kilometer or radius they cover. They've been trying to walk out of here, and I think because they don't want him around, because they know he's from another area. They've not encountered him before, so he's trying to court them, and at least it's going to take a bit of time before they win his trust. Emma, thank you so much for your question. That is Maasai word, which means someone who's walking around. So, excuse me, I think it's too windy and cold. That's why my throat is getting a little bit dry. So, Lolo means someone who's walking up and about in Maasai. And that is the Olololo escarpment over in the distance, to where we have so many things named after the Ololo. It's called Olololo or Syria escarpment. Syria is the Maasai. We have a clan of Maasai called the Syria Maasai who reside near that Olololo escarpment. Very tired, looking tired, but also watching over that Kibogoyo if he's getting closer. But Kibogoyo has relaxed, so he's assured them he's not really going to be tough to them. So he has to habituate himself around them until they win his trust. But at the moment, everything seems not to be okay. That is why they are actually keeping a distance. I'm not sure how this is going to take on. Is it going to be a lion pride takeover? We are yet to see, or we are yet to witness if it's going to happen. He's up. But as soon as he raises his head, those lions keep on growling at him. So I'm still going to hang around here to see what's going to happen as I take you over to another live location.
Well, from our snake eagle to the lappet-faced lapwing, or wattled African wattled lapwing, and this is one of the lapwings that we get here in the Mara. Very vocal, as you can hear him calling. And right now they are non-breeding. When they breed, those yellow wattles on their faces become very, very long. Yeah, we'll get to show them someday. The male usually is slightly bigger than the female is bigger than male, so I don't know which one is which. We're going to show you the other one. I don't know if we can find him. Once we find him, we'll show you. But they have a small area that they proclaim it's theirs. You always find them in shorter grassy area patches, and they have a very camouflaged egg that they lay. It resembles a rock. You can barely see it even after seeing it, and somebody tells you it's here. You don't see it. They're on the ground, and they feed on small creepy crawlies, insects, all that, grasshoppers, spiders, and always very, very, very vocal. You cannot miss them with those distinct yellow legs, a yellow wattle, and almost a yellow sear, the upper side of the beak. It looks like he's found something. Yeah, well, they spend a lot of their time on the ground, but they do fly. If threatened, they will fly. So wattled plover for you. It's one of those lapwings we get here. We used to call them, plovers, but now they are called lapwings all over. The name has changed to lapwing. That is the road that I'm gonna hit quite soon. Do we have the other one somewhere? Oh yes, there it is. Is it bigger? Yes, it is. So this one could be the female. Is that gamer? They have long legs. Thank you, yes. Yeah, it helps them sometimes wade in some shallow waters to feed on small tadpoles and other water critters. It does help them do that. That's why you find them on water edges and marshy grassland. You always find them there. Wattled lapwing. Yes, let me move on, see what else we can find along that straight road. There's always something. Remember to talk to us, #WildEarth. Questions and comments are very, very welcome. Sometimes you find those lapwings in groups of up to 6 or 7 in an area. Depends on the amount of food that is available. go find something else further ahead. Let's take you to another live safari vehicle.
Lapwings are very interesting birds, and I like the way they approach predators as they walk closer to their nesting areas. And that is the same way this lioness is trying to be defensive, where this lion is trying to get closer to them. But at the moment, there's social distance that is here. So you can see the lionesses to the left, the lion to the right. So peace has prevailed at the moment. I've seen him waking up, trying to pick some scent through his Jacob's organ, and a very, very interesting behavior witnessed in mammals, where they will sniff at a urine of a female species, and then they'll snarl up their face in a flaming grimace, where the urine gets into a scent called the Jacob's organ, and which analyzes the scent to see if they're ready to mate. And by the look of how this is happening, it seems like one of the lionesses here is showing signs of estrus, because it is always prevalent when a lioness or any female animal or species, that is, when they're about to mate, when they're in estrus, the males will court them, try to follow them until that time will come for them to mate. But the moment seems like they're still holding a typical behavior that we've always witnessed. So we're yet to know which one amongst the three is going to mate with Kibogoyo. So I'm still going to hang around here because nothing is going on at the moment as I take you over to another live location.
Hello everybody, sorry to scare the pants off of some of you, especially those that have arachnophobia, because we are looking at a close-up of a spider. And I am paging through my spider book to try and figure out what it is. Anyways, hello, my name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me, as well, every other day, is Sebastian Rombi, and we're here at Pridelands, which is part of Tswalu Game Reserve and the Greater Kruger. Now, Sebastian pointed out the spider in the car. Was it crawling on you?
No,
close.
Crawling there.
It was crawling in the car, as you can imagine. Let's have another look at it. I think it might be a hairy field spider, but I don't know, which is part of the orb-web spiders. I actually don't have a crazy cool spider identification book. I need to get myself a better one. So I'm trying, and of course, you'd think I'd know how to use a book, but sometimes it can be quite difficult. Let's try this, page 61 to 69. I'm just having a look. But maybe there are some spider specialists out there, and you've seen the spider before. The reason why I thought it looked like a hairy field spider was just because of the patterns. You normally see them on blades of grass, and they make a sort of like an orb kind of a web. But here I go. I'm actually just paging through now. Apologies if I don't seem like I'm focusing. I promise that I am. But yeah, I feel like it is one. But anyways, maybe just a slightly different variation. It's also really big. So I suspect that this might be a female, obviously with spiders. The female spiders are much larger than their companions. But I don't know where we've picked it up, because we've definitely not done any bundu bashing. It might have just been sitting on the edge of a branch, and this is something that typically happens in South Africa. Or actually just anywhere on safari. You brush past a branch, some tall grass, and you're bound to get an insect or a spider or something landing in the vehicle. Like we've got a jumping spider at the moment that lives in the car, which is fine. It can eat all the little insects. But a very cool little thing. I don't know where, I haven't decided where I'm going to put it yet, because I'd quite like to still take a photo and try and identify it. But you know what? You're all there, and you're also wonderful, and you can hashtag WildEarth, of course, and share that with us, share that screenshot. But I look forward to hearing what some of you have to say about it. But thankfully it's sat still now, because it was on the move, and I'm not a huge fan of spiders. I only like jumping spiders. Those are the only ones that I'll let them hop on my hand and then move them. This one I had to put on my cell phone and try and get it to stop. Megan, you've commented about the design of the spider and how much you're loving it. Yeah, I mean, obviously all creatures out here have got unique patterns and they have different colors and they all serve various purposes. Obviously a big thing for a spider is to be camouflaged, although, like I said, this is definitely a web-spinning spider. I'm convinced that it's in the orb web family, which is a huge family of spiders. I mean, there's probably thousands of species all over the world, maybe a few hundred here in Africa. So, you know, when you're not sitting on your web, when you're not waiting patiently to just be sitting on a piece of grass, it'll be invisible. It'll blend in quite nicely. My favorite has to be also another member of the orb-web spider family is the bark spiders. Those things are crazy. They literally look like a piece of bark when sitting on a branch. So that's really, really quite cool. But it is awesome. But I don't want to move it and annoy it purely because I might give out a little yelp if it drops down on my foot and crawls up my leg. I really, really don't want that. But I want to just try and see if we can't get a better angle. Sorry, Seb. Hopefully, if she runs, I'm out. I'm getting out of the car. That's the end of me. How's that? I'm just trying to see if I can... It's actually quite convenient that she's sitting on this piece of canvas. So this is normally to protect our radios. There we go, something different. So you can see, look at all those hairs. And again, I'm just calling her a she because it is quite big and I suspect it is a female. I can't really see the front. Oh, there we go. That's quite cool. I'm trying to turn it so we can see the eyes. Maybe have a look at the pedipalps, but I'm always so fascinated by all the hairs on their legs. Another spider that's got particularly hairy legs and with spines on it are lynx spiders, but I don't think it's a lynx spider because lynx spiders have are notorious for having very, very long, slender abdomens, and that's not the case here. But anyways, we'll keep her in the car for a bit longer. I'll see if I can do some searching on the interweb to figure out exactly who we have.
Welcome back, everybody. We are back on Juma. I'm going to see if we can get this bird. Oh, there's Float. There are a whole lot of birds in the tree here making lovely noises. Unfortunately, that one flew off, but maybe you can hear the Morocco sunbird. There's a crombeck as well. There you go, there's a crombeck top of the screen. Just fidgeting through the branch there. And the bird I wanted to show you, I can hear it calling. I'll play it for you. See if you can get the Morocco. It's very hard to see. He's somewhere in there. Now the bird I wanted to play, it's one I don't think I've ever got on camera before, called the fan-tailed flycatcher. Used to be known as the fan-tailed flycatcher. It's now called the great-tit flycatcher. I can just hear him in the background. Have a listen to my hat. Very, very nice call that many people hear and don't understand. The lady that I met on my break, Margot Lloyd, she was desperate to know what that bird was. I was very happy I was able to show her. It's not a bird you see very often. It looks just like the ashy flycatcher, but got two white outer tail feathers. So we've come back onto Juma to see what we can find this side. We did do an entire boundary patrol. The Telemati Pride were located, but unfortunately it's just in a very tricky area, so we've left them there. Quite nice tracking them though, to find them. Just allow you to just listen to some of the sounds emanating from the wilderness. Derek is very astute. He could hear the barred owlet calling deep in the drainage down here. Some of you might not have heard it. I'll see if I can play a barred owlet call for you. It is definitely a call worth listening to. Are you ready to hear it? Listen to my hat once more. Okay, so it's a point to be made from an ethical point of view, everybody. This time of year specifically with regards to birds and their breeding. Yes, okay, it's okay to play bird calls on phones and stuff. Never play them too loud and never play them in the same area repeatedly. Birds respond to those calls. They respond to it quite aggressively or negatively. So it's very important to have ethics. Don't just keep playing a bird call over and over and over. Yes, we've got lots of apps these days which help us learn these things, but remember that in the breeding season specifically, you can actually cause a breeding species or breeding bird to abandon the nest. You could play the call too loud. It could cause them some stress. They could leave the nest altogether. They could leave it for undue periods of time, and it could be predated on. So just bear in mind that there's a lot of ethics. So if you do want to learn bird calls out in the wilderness, it's nice to have an earphone that you can plug into your ear. So when you hear a bird, you go, "Ooh, that kind of sounds like this." Play it to your earphone so that you're not broadcasting it too loud. It's a very good way of learning bird calls, of course, is through practice. But bear in mind that we want to be very passive in our birding. We don't want to scare all the pretty birds away. Or is a brown-crowned chagra calling? Oh, grey-headed bushwhack now. That was me, but I could hear one. I can hear the whistle of the European bee-eaters. Rattling cisticulars. Greater blue-eared starling. Emerald spotted wood dove. Black-headed oriole. Crested barbet. That constant churring. Long-billed crombeck. I'm not very good at doing all the imitations. Derek can also hear white-browed scrub robin. Derek, you're 100% correct. White-browed scrub robins, everybody, are not always the same call. They do a very similar sort of three-note call repeatedly. Oh, here we got it. Little crombeck over here. Can you see him? I wonder if you can get him, Morgan. This is where the test comes in. You see, there he is, just over here now. Oh, he's going to make life hard for you. Going to make life hard. It's just at the bottom. There we go. Well done. There's a little long-billed crombeck. You can hear him calling in the background. It's almost got no tail because his job is to flitter around in the vegetation. He jumps around in the bush, gleaning insects off of the branches. He's not a very good flyer, and he doesn't migrate. So short tail allows him to jump in and out. He's a little bit further up there. Now, I can also hear a yellow-breasted apalus. Very good. I also hear a black cuckoo shrike, which almost sounds like an insect.
have something we need to share here, and it's a beautiful gang of mongoose. You know, they're gonna come into picture quite soon over there. Yeah, shortly. We're gonna share them with you. There they are. I don't know if they're gonna stay for long. These are banded mongoose, and they're doing what they do best. You're digging for little creepy crawlies, dung beetles, scorpions, spiders, grasshoppers. All those are in the menu. They travel in, gangs of up to 60. Look at them. They're everywhere. And, they are power to reckon, these guys, because they also can kill very large snakes. And their main threat is mainly big birds of prey, but they do gather up and just form one big, solid, unbreakable circle that most of the birds avoid them. What else do we have? We have baboons. They are running everywhere. I don't know what spooked them. Yeah, that's a big boy. Olive baboon. And he's calling for the rest of the troop. Yeah, he's calling. Looks like he's warning everybody there's a threat somewhere. I don't know what it is. Yeah, back to our mongoose, maybe. We have 3 of them in front of me. They're standing. I think they're trying to locate the rest of the members. They're down. Yeah, they make this call that everybody recognizes, and everybody heads to that direction. And I think that's where everybody is heading. You're lost, little guy. There he is, trying to locate everybody. They have a keen sense of smell, and while foraging on the ground, they'll walk to an area, and you see them digging really, really fast. Usually they can smell and hear, a small dung beetle struggling underneath the ground, and they will dig it out. There we have a young baboon, a riding jockey. Yeah, when they're very relaxed, they get on their mother's back and just sit there and enjoy a ride while the mom is foraging. Of course, it's when everything is perfect, it's comfortable, there's no threat. These are olive baboons, and very common here in the Mara. They go troops of up to 60. It's omnivore. They feed on a lot of plant matter and meat. And it comes in different shapes, the meat. That's a big boy. Very hairy, the olive baboon. Yeah, these guys can weigh up to 40 kilos, so they're very heavy. The eyesight is very, very good, and always they are within a tree where they can run for safety. When foraging on the ground like this, they will have a sentry on one of the trees so that there is no danger, and if there is danger, he can warn everybody. Are you going to stop by the shade, or are you going for a morning stroll, big guy? Yeah, he's going to cross the road. Beautiful, look at him. There he goes. Yeah, they always have a few on top of trees. So in case of danger, they'll just back and everybody scampers to the nearest tree. Their main threat is leopard, lion. Yeah, but also big males like that one can gang up, and sometimes they have been known to kill leopards. Yes, we have a lot happening right here, but the grass is too tall. I cannot see much. Jane, Jumbo, is there a reason why they're called olive baboons? It is because of the olive color on the coat. When it shines in the right angle, you see that olive color. That's why they call olive baboons. There is one over there, Bungay. I don't see him. He's quite high on a termite mound. I don't know what he's doing, but looks he's one of the sentries. You see him? Yeah, he's coming into view. And from that vantage point, you know, he can see really, really well. So he's the sentry from that side of things. And if there was any threat, there's a few trees he can run to. When cornered, they won't back up baboons. They attack, and especially they are not afraid of humans. They're much afraid of lions, but leopards, they will chase leopards. Cheetahs will never even dare try and go for baboon. They're too dangerous for cheetah. Over here, you know, we sometimes see dogs injured by these guys because dogs think that they will run away, but baboons attack them. They have these huge canines, 4 of them, almost the same size as a lion, and they can inflict serious injury. Yeah, well, on the ground, they will feed on termites. They'll feed on grasshoppers and plenty of grass matter. Those are a few that have decided that is a good tree to sit by and just enjoy. Behind is a small herd of wildebeest, so it's just a beautiful scene that I have here. Well, it's just so beautiful here. I could sit the whole day, but let's take you to another live location while I move to another spot.
Here we are again with the lovely sighting with the cheetah with the 2 cubs. If you remember yesterday, if you were watching yesterday, she was trying to eat now, like maybe, I'll say maybe 20 to 30 minutes ago. As you can see, they're busy cleaning up almost everything now. This was like a young Ngala that they got here, which is they finally have their breakfast today. So which is good to have them feeding these cubs. Happy now. Yeah, this is cool. You can see they're eating. Bellies are quite full now for this cub, comparing from yesterday, which is good to see them when they're eating. They eat and checking just to making sure there's no other predators coming around. Usually the place they are is quite bushy, which is you won't expect to see a cheetah making a kill in a very bushes like that. Normally you're expecting to see a cheetah in an open area make a kill, but they are amazing. Our cheetah here at Phinda, they adapt to this kind of, so they go to this bushing, making a kill without the problem, and so that's what they do. So we're happy to see them having their own food, which is good to survive into this place. See that what is left in our few of the rib cage and stomach. Yeah, you can see the mom, she's sitting up now, but making sure check around. It's still around. Yeah, well, we're happy to see this cheetah now. Mom, she's keep on checking around, making sure there's no dangers coming around. Let the cubs feeding, and we'll sit here and see what's happening.
Cheetahs are always nice and beautiful to see, and being the bottomless of the food chain, sometimes they fall victims when they get to hunt, or maybe when the lions are around. So back to our lions, and it seems like they're holding this guy at bay. They don't want him closer. You can see the lioness to the left was actually growling at him. Seems like this is going to take about 2 days for him to be accepted, or maybe if one of them is ready to mate, because it seems like he's not going to give up at all. That lioness, look at the size of her. Look, in comparison to the male, she's not even his match, but she's not going to let him closer. And that is very, very interesting when you get to watch lions do such a behavior. So he's pretending to sleep, and by doing that, at least he's trying to habituate himself close to these lionesses. Like I told you, it's going to take a bit of a while before he's accepted or mates with one of the females here. So he's picked a good spot. Wonder if he's going to take the rest of the day sleeping there, or maybe he's going to follow these lioness. But they seem to be exposed as the heat of the day keep on increasing. I'm still going to hang around here, watch these lions as I take you over to another live location.
Now, at best, I apologize in the beginning for the slight shakiness. This has got absolutely nothing to do with Sebastian. It's me, because I'm holding a stick with a spider on, and quite a compromising position. But anyways, we're still looking at that same spider that we found a little while ago. I'm going to release it in a minute, but I thought, let me put it on a stick so you can have a much better view. So she's camouflaged herself quite well. She's pulled herself into a nice tight little ball. She doesn't want to be too conspicuous. You know, I don't think she realizes that I don't want to eat her, but there are lots of things out here that would love to eat her. So we're obviously talking about the hairs that the spiders have, like, on their bodies. So unfortunately, most spiders can't see very well. This spider, I don't think, has got very good eyesight at all. So those hollow hairs that she has all over her legs and quite close to her pedipalp, so where her fangs and stuff would be, are called chemosensitive hairs. And they're like taste touch receptors, essentially. They're also really, really good for picking up vibrations because this is a web building spider. On the web, if anything gets caught in there. But unfortunately, we don't have a telescope, magnifying glass or anything like that. It would be really cool to put it underneath so you can have a look at her eyes. But there are spiders that have got really good eyesight. For example, jumping spiders, wolf spiders, ogre face spiders, or net casting spiders. And what you'll see with them is they have two really prominent forward-facing eyes that are quite big in comparison to the rest. And essentially, those are like a telephoto lens. And then sometimes it depends, you know, if those spiders are nocturnal, or, for example, if they're jumping spiders, those two eyes will have two very different roles. And they allow lots and lots of light in. And then the smaller eyes that would surround those two big ones, because a spider can have anywhere between 8 or 6 eyes, and sometimes even a little bit less. But they're like a wide angle sort of lens. But this spider, I don't think, is relying on its eyesight at all. And you can see it's covered in those little tiny hairs. And then apparently James had mentioned that it is a spiky field spider, which is quite cool. I don't think I've seen a spiky field spider before, but definitely one of the field spiders, or in the orb web family. Like I said, it's quite large, but just such unique patterns. And now that the rain has fallen and there's been a burst in all the insects, I think we're going to start to see a lot more spiders. So I'm quite excited to add this one to my list, as it's a new one. And if anybody's got any recommendations of a really good spider ID book, please, pretty please, let us know. As safari guides, we are always looking for new material, especially ID kits.
Welcome back to Juma, and we are currently sitting on top of the wall at Waterhole Dam. Oh, the bird of prey just flew over there. We'll wait a second, maybe it'll come closer. But we're currently looking at some dab chicks or little grebes in the water. And it's so nice to see. After rains earlier this year, December, January, we suddenly had little grebes. Oh, check here. Check. We've got two Wahlbergs. We've got a Wahlbergs fighting with another bird here. It looks like a juvenile African hawk eagle. That's just flown across. He flew past me a moment ago, and then the pale morph Wahlbergs attacked it. How awesome is that? Looks like a juvenile African hawk eagle. You get lots of territorial activity. These birds of prey are all massive threats to each other. The Wahlbergs have migrated to breed, and any large bird of prey is obviously a serious threat to their chicks, to their nest, and very, 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 very quick to attack. And just over my shoulder, that Wahlbergs that flew off then got attacked by a fork-tailed drongo. So it's a wonderful birding morning. Juvenile African hawk eagle. It's quite brown with a little bit of black on the wingtips. Not in breeding plumage. We've had a resident pair of hawk eagles nesting on the property the last 3 years at least, probably more than that. And this is really making Morgan work. So hawk eagles are actually, well, when they pair off, they hunt in pairs. It's one of the strategies they use for hunting. They're very good at catching game birds, guinea fowl, francolin. One will startle everybody, and then the second one will come in at an angle and take the prey. So often have lots of alarm calls, birds shouting, squirrels shouting when these birds are in the sky. The last shadow. Oh, here's the first cuckoo. Here's the first Levalence cuckoo flying over. How awesome. That's my first. Oh, you're not going to get him. You're not going to get him. You hear him calling. And the first Levalence cuckoo for the year. How cool. You can maybe hear him calling in the background now. I'll play it for you in my hat. You might not be able to hear it. Let me play it. Ends with a little booty shake. Now they have just arrived. That is the first Levalence cuckoo I've seen of the season. Arriving in October, departing in May. So I don't know if anyone else has managed to get a Levalence yet, but very nice to see. And they are brood parasites coming here to breed and to brood parasite over arrow-marked babblers and other babblers. But in this area, it's the arrow-marked babblers specifically. And it's quite easy to remember because Levalence cuckoo, a black cuckoo with a white chest with bars on it. So the L is for lines. L for lines. The Jacobin looks the same, but they have a clear white chest. Jacobin has no lines. And the arrow-marked babbler's got little arrow marks on the chest. And Levalence got little lines on the chest, which means that their chicks resemble that of the arrow-marked babblers when they hatch. Obviously, the arrow-marked babblers will then look after them and rear them to a sub-adult before they can fledge and leave and go off and do their thing. A pair of blacksmith lapwings just chilling by the dam. How wonderful. Well, everyone, it's been wonderful having you with us this morning, should I say. Very excited to be out on drive and nice to be catching up on all the birds that are in and around. I think I'm going to be spending a lot of time on birds over the next couple of days. It is that time of year when the calls are incredible. And you have a turtle dove or ring-necked dove coming down to drink. and the lapwings walking around the edge looking for insects. Time of breeding, time of excitement, time of all the migratory birds. So everybody, we do thank you for joining us this morning. Thanks for your questions and comments from all of our wonderful locations. We look forward to hosting you again on this afternoon's Sunset Safari. Until then, have a wonderful day further, and we will catch you later on this afternoon. Have a wonderful day.